Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Wale. It's Tokyo 2020 Rewind, and thank you for joining us today. Um, well, it's been one of those days again at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Yesterday we were full of hope. We were excited. We're looking forward to well, our poster girl, Odoayo Adekuroye. Um, doing us proud. But unfortunately, what happened. Odoya was leading 8-2 until she had a fall, and by technicality, she lost to the Moldovan girl, Nachita. So quite unfortunate because Nachita also went on to lose in the next round to a Bulgarian girl, which was quite unfortunate. But we can only wish Odoya the very best in future. I think we still got a Greco-Roman uh, wrestling event still to catch up with, and hopefully we wish our girls and boys all the best. So it's been, like I said, a sort of a yo-yo day for Nigeria. Ayomide Bello in crashed out of the quarterfinals of the women's 200 canoeing event. She came in third, so she's crashed out Ayomide Bello. Um, and obviously, we have the 4 by 100 quartet of Toby Amuson, Esa Brume, Patience George, and Grace Nwokocha tomorrow at the Olympic Stadium there in Tokyo. And not forgetting, Chukwebuka Inekwechi will be in the final of the shot put also tomorrow. So things still looking good for Team Nigeria at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Hopefully, things will work out better for tomorrow. But you're still on Tokyo 2020 Rewind. As I mentioned, things have not been that rosy for Team Nigeria at this Olympics. Still have one silver medal, which was won by Blessing Obrodu in the wrestling, and obviously Ese Brume's bronze in the long jump so far. So Nigeria still with one silver and one bronze medal. Anyway, so joining me today, we've got Lande Abudu. Lande Abudu is the Executive Secretary of the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria and also sports columnist. Lande is a sports enthusiast who is also very vast following these Olympics so far. Lande, it's so nice to see you again today. How are you doing?
Yeah, hi guys. It's very nice to be back.
Very nice to be
It's
back
been a
here.
while.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been too long,
Yeah.
How's it been? COVID and all.
N- Oh, yeah, not too bad, sort
Yeah.
of easing away from the madness that it was last year, trying to get
Mhm.
back to normal and yeah, the new normal as they call it, because it can't be normal, that's the truth. But yeah, things are looking on the up and up.
That's good. That's good. And I suppose you've been following the Olympics so far, Landy. What
Absolutely.
what's what's your assessment so far, especially as it concerns our dear old Nigeria?
Ah, I was wondering if you would start with that. So, phew, you know how
Yeah.
you know how it is. You
Mm.
know, maybe do we want to start on something else? Because then we'd use the whole program to talk about talk about Nigeria. No, but on a
Obviously.
serious
Okay.
note,
Mm.
yeah, it's we would have liked to have done better, but as loads of
Mm.
people say, let's look at the positives, which is at least we're on the medals table. It doesn't sound unambitious to think, well, Nigeria, 200 million people, we should have more than two medals. But
Mm.
it is what it is. We have our challenges, and the spirit of the athletes is good to see. They keep on striving, and we, the fans, will keep supporting them and keep rooting for them.
Okay. I think we Landy, can you hear me? Okay. The connection is a bit patchy. It's a bit dodgy.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it seemed like
Something.
it froze.
Okay, all right,
Mm,
okay, yeah. So, well,
okay, so
let's pack that down
mhm,
for a little while. Our assessment so far,
yeah.
just like you
Hmm.
mentioned, we've got two medals. We've got a silver medal and also uh, the bronze medal. The silver medal, I actually termed it golden silver medal. Um, it's been a very successful Olympics for the women folk, I must say, because they bailed Nigeria out, um, winning the two medals so far. What does this say about women's sports development in Nigeria? Are women definitely going to get the recognition they do you? And don't forget, the first individual gold medal ever at the Olympics was actually won by Chioma Ajunwa about 25 years ago. And even
Exactly.
since then, Chioma has not been really recognized. I mean, if it were to be a man that won that, people will have raved more than what they are doing now. I mean, the Olympic team, the likes of Kanu and all of them, won the gold at the same Olympics, but people tend to remember that more than what Chioma actually achieved. That's just one person winning a gold medal for Nigeria instead of a collective team. Do you think finally the women in sports are now going to be recognized in Nigeria?
I think yes, we're on the way there. I think so because it's clear. I mean, the first ever gold medal is a woman, and as you rightly pointed out, it should be even shouted more from the rooftops. Though, to be fair, people do kind of know, but if it were a man, it probably would be more recognized. But that said, we're happy she's the first person, and it's a good start for female sports. And we were on a panel with the sports minister earlier in the year, and he is committed to changing including female athletes in the mix. So he started that with some grassroots projects for females, and let's hope there's build up on that and it can get better.
Mm. And then we always have these lofty ideas. I mean, we have got brilliant people, obviously, like you, and quite a lot of people that were brought into this our program over the week, since we started this program. Um, People coming up with lofty ideas, talking about how we can move sports forward in Nigeria. I mean, a country of over 200 million people still struggling to get a gold medal at the Olympics is quite shameful, so to say. We had previous sports minister. I heard him quite recently saying, "I had a very bright idea of how we can prepare for competitions, on how we can develop sports in Nigeria, but everything was just shoved, in the dustbin as soon as the new person came, and this new person has engaged people like you, and obviously you're talking about to develop sport. How do we get to a time where everything we've been talking about, that you guys have been talking about over the years, is going to be sustained? It's going to be like kept somewhere for subsequent, whoever turns up to the new sports minister comes, so that they can follow that idea instead of, okay, yeah, today, then tomorrow someone comes in and, all right, let's start all over again. It happens all our preparation. So how do we go about doing that?
Okay, so yeah, that's it's there's lots of answers embedded in your question and lots of questions in it. So first of all, it's starting and recognizing that there's a problem, which we all know and we've all been trying to solve. Second of all, that 4-year government cycle is always an issue. So we need to park it and look for solutions outside because every 4 years the government is going to change. Even if it doesn't change, the cabinet might change. So yeah, we have to build lasting institutions rather than temporary fixes. So we can't put, band-aid over the problem. We need to solve it from the grassroots. So it's legislation that won't be easily changed by the next regime. One, commitment to implementing a long-term strategy that we started, and you have to start at the grassroots. You can't just all of a sudden decide that, yes, we want to go to the Olympics 2024 in Paris, we want to win 20 gold medals, and we're going to do it. It's 4 years. What is the realistic plan to do so? So if we're going to project anything, we might need to look at Brisbane, I think it's in 2028, and start working towards this 5-year plan that will get us enough infrastructure and enough training. Because it's not for lack of talent. If you look at the lineups of other countries, you will see Nigerian Canadians, Nigerian Qatari, Nigerians everywhere, excelling in under all nationalities. So there's no reason why we can't, as a people, have it, for Nigeria. So it's a
Mm.
long-term thing. It's not a quick fix, and it has to be, I think it might, government has to work with the private sector. It's not government alone that will do it. And obviously, private sector doesn't have the deep pockets. But with collaboration and some kind of synchronized efforts, we can do it. We have the talent, we have the brains, we have the personnel. There is no reason why not.
I'm so glad you've mentioned the two words I actually mentioned quite a lot over the course of our episodes as private sector. The private sector, we've always been hampering about what the private sector need to do to contribute to sports development in Nigeria. There's a school of thought that says, why will a private sector company or corporate Nigeria will want to probably invest in sports, or probably in an association where that association has got a secretary general who is going to be obviously from the government, and a board that obviously is more like, let me use the local palace now, paddy paddy, and just basically they won't be accountable for
Yeah.
whatever we give. So how do we work around that, and especially how do we market whatever we have, our product? I'm talking about each federation to public private sector.
Exactly. So that's it. There's no definite solution, depending on who is there. As you say, this paddy paddy thing. So we can't shove that aside. But somehow we have to find a formula to work together. No private sector person is going to want to sink billions into a sport that they won't necessarily have control, in quotes, because there needs to be some autonomy. So there are different things. We worked on a paper, that the sports ministry is doing to treat sports as a business. So under various articles, we're looking at how the private sector can be more involved and investment can be encouraged, and there can be incentives for doing so. So government hands off a little bit. So if it's seen as a business, it's not necessarily public sector controlling it. So that's on the one hand.
Mm.
On the other hand, sometimes, and I say this as a fan who has, this idealism in me, and I think if I were a billionaire on the Forbes list, I might not think too much of the loss, because I'm thinking I want to push my nation forward, and I would just sink money into it. It sounds crazy, but sometimes crazy things work, and you start with a crazy thing, somebody builds on it. So who
Mm.
knows? That's in an ideal world, you know.
Exactly, an ideal world. Um,
Yep.
and within the sports ministry itself, we do have a department called Department or Directorate of Sports Development. Where do they come up in all this discussion? Were they part of the discussion or this roundtable you guys have been, joying about for, how long, and this scope, where did they come into play? Because if you have a directorate of sports development that's supposed to be held by a director, I suppose that person or persons should be the formulator or probably the designer of whatever policies that should the sports ministry itself should be following. So where did that come into play with your team or teams?
Yeah, you're quite right, and they are part of the key stakeholder group. So it's not something we're discussing in isolation. There are loads of MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies involved in the process. We can't do it otherwise. So, as I said, sometimes you need to just grab the bull by the horns and take a decision to try and go a certain way. We know that governments all over the world, how they work, it can be slower and more bureaucratic than we'd like. So if private sector is coming in, we want to lay some things that says, look, we want to come in and do this thing well. We want to work with you, work with us, so we can make it better. going a little slower than we'd like, then we sort of march ahead. So yes, they will be part of the wider stakeholder consultation, but there will be action plans that people responsible in the private sector will probably take the first lead, and then government can follow. But if we have to wait for them and wait for each election cycle, we wouldn't move forward.
And the other thing I actually also wanted to ask is I was listening to the former sports minister, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, talking on one of the national TV stations. And he talked about the fact that one of his policies back then was to uh, get money from the sports lottery fund or probably the sports fund and what have you. As it entails here in this part of the world where we are at the moment, government don't really fund sports. Instead, the lottery fund sports.
Yeah.
So is that another way we can probably exploit in Nigeria, where obviously we've got quite a lot of, you know, Baba Jabus all around Nigeria making quite a lot of money, you know.
Exactly.
So is there a way we can also co-opt them into this brilliant ideas you guys are coming from and you're tabling on the table, and obviously get them to also fund sports in Nigeria?
Absolutely, and it's already on the table. They have been approached in different ways, one, and it's part of this larger roundtable that we're having. So the proposals are how to get a certain percentage of the funding through, what we can call the lottery, the equivalent of the lottery, since we don't have, the whole Camlet setup, but something
Hmm.
similar that we can work with. And so, yes, it is absolutely in the works. So quite right, because that's where it will come from. And then with all the activity with online, like there's so many of these betting organizations that sponsor programs and stuff, they can as well put that into development of sports overall. So then everybody wins.
So let's talk about infrastructural development now. I know the present sports minister has been doing what he can with regards to our national stadiums. The one in Abuja, the Lagos one, and I think not sure now if it's the Lagos Salami one in Ibadan. We've been seeing, again, public private sector coming in. I know Dangote was probably allocated the Abuja Stadium to refurbish or whatever. So, is do you think a time will come where we're going to have enough infrastructure on ground in Nigeria where athletes now can camp, and prepare thoroughly for competitions and obviously move from here to international competitions in future?
There will be, and I'm very optimistic there has to be, because we can't go on like this and potential generation after generation dies down, or we export all our talent. So we definitely will see a difference. How quickly? I don't even think we should look at it and think, oh, let's run and achieve it. I think the first thing is let's believe it that it will happen. And honestly, it will. Because even if it's not coming up from the private sector, a few people are going to shake things up and say, you know what, this does not make sense. We've got to do this and move it forward. We're too big to not achieve, more than this and to not have the infrastructure. And it's a mindset thing. All of this stuff, even if they go billions and stuff, Nigerians every day, our people, we can be extravagant. We spend money on the things that we like. Nigerians are spending billions going abroad for education, for vacations, and all sorts of things. It's about the mindset and channeling the money into the right thing. So it's not the lack of money; it's distributing it to the right place.
Hmm, exactly. Um, Still on sports development, just want to ask you this last question: where does school sports um, come in all this? In the past, I know when I school in secondary school in Nigeria, obviously used to remember back in the days, Principal Cup was massive. I went to St. Famous College, and I know. my old school produced quite a lot of footballers for Nigeria. And you use Sports Federation of Nigeria and the 17, all those,
Okay.
and everything is now in the back burner. So do you see a situation where we need to go back to the grassroots, like you said, and that in going back to the grassroots, we need to revive school sports, football, athletics, and what have you,
So
so that we can obviously tap those talents from right from there and then structure their development.
that is the solution right there. Nobody starts sports at age 20 something. If you look at the most excellent sports people, you know, you'll see Serena's already giving her child the racket at age 2. That's when you start seeing them getting familiar with different things in sports and showing an interest, and also sort of the training, that the mental training to get ready for things. So things start early, and it's starting earlier and earlier. I mean, when you mentioned school sports, I thought, okay, yes, I remember I ran for the county and I held the 100-meter record, 200-meter. This was all school nurturing. Literally, it's not like we had paid coaches or anything. We just ran for our lives and pressed into tape, and that was it. So it could have gone further, but it's from there that you see the talent, and who you can then go on to progress into the thing. So that's where the answer lies. And that's why I'm saying, if we don't have a proper framework, we are all just going to be trying to catch up at every major games and never quite catching up, you know.
Mm.
So we have to start with school. Where it's at now, I think it's obviously could be better. It's gotten worse from, back in the day. So
Mm.
I will not reveal my age by saying when, but back in the day, schools, yeah, had a more robust sports structure, and everybody was involved in something or the other. So it's not like now that even private schools, you'll see that. How do they give a license for a private school of a certain number of people to be on half an acre of land with just you need grounds, you need a swimming pool, you need so many sporting facilities. Either that, or you partner with like the national stadium if it hadn't gone to rack and ruin. But those are the
Mm.
things that you need. And regular sports, the Nuga games, properly organized. And then, like in the times of the kind of things that nurtured the Shegun Jogbamis of the world, academical. So you marry education with sport, and it's that exposure and that drives them to excel. So it's not just running around and nothing to do after sports has ended. So it's a combination
Mm.
of the two.
Mm. There's no way I would not want to ask you this question about the disqualification of Nigerian 10, I call them now, at the Olympics.
Hmm.
It was quite sad, and but it happened. It happened. What's your what's your take on that? And do you think with them we will have probably done better?
I mean, that's a hypothetical question. I don't know, but I sense we would have. And
Mm.
it's always nice to hope. We're not going to think, oh, 10 people were disqualified, oh, they'd have been rubbish anyway. I don't think they would
Mm.
have been. I think that just dampened the spirits. It was just a low point, and I just want to enjoy the games and not think of all those things, and just pray that with good strategy, 2024 is going to be better. It's going to be better.
Is that for certain? You sounding so sure.
I am sounding sure because everybody is tired. As in, whatever we're going to do that is effective, we are going to do it. So if it's that, a group of people come together and decide, look, this is our thing, we're going to sponsor them in the next 4 years to do XYZ in various sports, and we're going to ensure that they get to the Olympic Games fully equipped and trained and to give their best. We can't do any better. So then it's just for them. They're on the stage, they give their best, but you prepare stuff. They can't just go there and just suddenly excel. We don't want any drama about kits and, stuff like that, airfares. Enough of that, enough of that.
Mm. And hopefully, the sports authorities in Nigeria, the ministry, the federations, the NOC has been very quiet. We'll learn a thing or two about this Olympics because it's all about learning, and it's all about putting into place what you've learned, so that we can obviously work towards a very bright uh, next Olympics coming up in Paris
Absolutely.
in 2024. We'll go on a very quick short break, Landy, and when we come back, we will
Okay.
come back into the Olympics itself, and I'll be asking you some questions about where we go from here, especially in this present Olympics, where the medals are going to come from, and what we have probably done wrong. Uh, why
Mhm.
these medals have not come. So we're taking a quick break, and we'll be back in a
Okay.
second. Thank you.
Okay. Cool.
Welcome back. It's still Tokyo 2020 Rewind, and I am with Ms. Lande Abudu, who is the Executive Secretary, Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria, and a sports columnist, and also actually found that tonight that she used to be a county 100 meters champion. That's 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 good, Wande, Lande. What county was that?
Tense.
Oh, and do you still run? Let me ask that cheeky question now.
Sorry?
I said, do you still run?
What's that?
I mean, do you still run? Do you still participate in athletics or what have you?
That's not nice.
That's not nice. Oh, come
So
on.
what, 3 decades later, I
Yeah,
still run within the compound.
within the compound. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, it would have been lovely to see you at the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games, but you chose a different path, and
you know?
it's good. Yeah, it's good you chose that path because you've been doing marvelously well, especially with regards to renewable energy, which obviously we
Thank
spoke
you.
about some time ago, and yeah. So, Annie, I want to ask you about a certain divine Oduduru at the well, a sprinter, and the 100 meters. He got disqualified, and many of us thought that should have been contested because it was not really clear cut, And then 200 meters, he won. No, well, he qualified in the first heat, and then semifinals couldn't make it because he came third, and his timing was not good enough to qualify for the semis. Would you say that initial disqualification, the 100 meters, actually affected him going into the 200 meters?
Hmm. He probably would. I mean, he's human. I am nowhere near their level, but those things impact on your next race. But I
Mm,
think it's just fortune. It's one of those things. Some people prepare for 4 years and then, blow a hamstring at 2 seconds. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It was heartbreaking to watch and see that he didn't make it. But he has to pick himself up again. I'm not sure how much of an impact that was. I wish was contestable because it would have been good to see him have a fairer chance. But it happens. Sport happens, and we move on. pick ourselves up, Nigeria will prevail. I believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Okay. And some people are already saying, well, that probably that's good night for Divine. We should start nurturing other talents. I still think he's got a few more years in him. I still think he's got quite a lot in his tank to obviously go to the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham next year, and obviously
Hmm?
give 2024 another go. Um, what's your take on that?
I think he's got it in him. If he has that drive, I think he should be able to do it. Because from this disappointment, it should, as they say, ginger him for the next Olympics. I mean, even at least Commonwealth before then and World Championships. So I think he's got a good shout, and I think that shows the true mettle of an athlete. So we have them. Roger Federer is 40, and he's come to Wimbledon. We have Serena who's 40. They play tennis because they want to keep winning. So if he puts his mind to it and with the proper training, he has a good shout. He has a good shout, really.
And Blessing Okagware, so unfortunate what happened. She's in her 30s now,
Mm,
early 30s. Although we've seen the likes of Shelley Ann Fraser Price, the Jamaican, 36 or so. She's gone. Had a baby. She's a mother. She's come back. She won silver
yep.
in 100 meters, and she did well in the two. Um, Blessing Okagware, where will she go from here now?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And I don't know if it's an age thing so much as she has to clear this and get her headspace right and sort of come out convincingly. Because it's not always nice to come back after that. There's always a sort of cloud over your name, and it just all seems quite unethical. So without saying anything, without indicting her, we wait and we see. I think it's September that we hear something back.
Yeah.
So we'll just wait and see. And age-wise, maybe not necessarily on her side, but other people have done things and they keep coming back. So as you can see, I'm a bit of an optimist.
Yeah, I can see that, and actually, it's very infectious. I must say, because I'm already getting infected with that. Obviously, the other ones we got Toby Armstrong that we actually thought she was going to like zoom in the huddles. She also came forth. It's becoming something of a norm for her now. Come forth, come forth. It's She's still young. She's a brilliant toddler, and obviously she's going to be running one of the legs at the 100 meters tomorrow. Should Toby be would that fourth position would he is it easy to get
Mm.
rid of? I mean, this is like probably second time she'll be doing this. Is it really easy to recondition oneself, to say, I failed before. What do I need to, what do I do now to excel? And obviously we know that in
Get that.
Commonwealth she might be good, she might come through, but when it gets to the Olympics, just need to do a step further.
You've said it. It's that step further. She needs to do that step further. And I think fourth must be the most painful position to be, because it's better almost to come last, because then you didn't have a shout. But when you're that close, and I think it was what, like 5/10 of a second that she came fourth
Yeah.
by, that's even more painful. It's like she could have done it, and we were like pushing her across the
Yeah,
finish line
exactly.
like this, but she then came fourth. So I mean, I think it's those athletes that pick themselves up and move forward. That's when you know the true mettle of an athlete, because it's difficult. And fourth is, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. You just have to
Mm,
get up and go. And you see the 200 meters men, you can see that DeGrasse finally won it. I think even he was like,
mm.
finally, I've done this.
I've done
you know,
this.
so you don't want to be, yeah, propping up the podium every major games, and you're not the one, not the one standing in the center. So it can be done. Be done.
Mm. And the other prospect we had a look at, and we obviously saw at the close quarters, was Enoch Adegoke, the 100 meters sprinter. Quite an impressive lad.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, at the beginning of the Olympics, I must confess, and Enoch, if you're listening and watching this, my apologies to you. I must confess, I was like, ugh, no, no way. But I was surprised at this energy, the zeal, the power of this guy. I mean, if he gets out of the block before you, he's going to give you a heck of a
Yeah,
time. You catching up with him, and I see a proper
yeah.
talent in this lad. Um, what do you think? Do you think this might be another Soji Fashiba, or I don't know, one of these ones for Chidimo in future?
Well, hopefully, but he will be himself, So
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
he's a great hope. Yeah, but there's so much that rests on their poor shoulders because the hopes of all of us is like, we need this next Innocent Ekpunike,
Mm,
we need this next Eno, we need that gold medalist. So, there's a weight on their shoulders as well. And we can only wish them well, really. But he's good. He's good. He's promising, and it makes us excited. So, you know, that's what the games is about. As long as we can field people who make the effort and, gives us that buzz and we support them. Yes, winning is great and it's almost everything. I don't I don't ascribe to that winning isn't everything kind of thing. It almost is, but at least taking part and preparing well and doing your best, it's uplifting as well for us.
mm. And again, the sad event today,
Yeah.
Odoayo Adekore was, oh god, that was hard to take.
So much.
8-2, and then they fall.
Yeah.
How does she recover from this?
Again, it's that yeah, today is gonna be horrible.
Mm,
It's still fresh. But I mean, with her team, I'm sure, and also they would have been used to all other kinds of adversities. This is painful, and it's almost a once in a lifetime chance or twice in a lifetime. So it will be hard, but with her whole team working together, bolstering her, finding a diversion, and then just gaining that mental strength to go again. That is the life of an athlete. Elite athletes, there's only a few of them, as we can see. It's not everybody that's cut out for it. So it's
exactly.
going to be
And
a difficult couple of weeks ahead, but she will pick up.
she pick up. We hope so, and we obviously wish Odun a very all the best wishes, because she was more like the post girl for the wrestling, and everyone was like, just like you said, there's too much. I think as Nigerians we place too much on these wonderful superhuman boys and girls on the shoulders. It's honestly, they are this. I would never be an Olympian. I never was, and I never will at my age. So, but they've gone the extra, exactly. They've got the extra mile to be an
Exactly.
Olympian, So,
That's it.
and the weight of Nigeria on the shoulders. One of the people I actually felt was, for me, the standout person at the Olympics for
Mm.
Nigeria is that swimmer, the 17-year-old kid, which will obviously
Yes.
she, for me, I think that girl, she's got talent, and she's obviously very brave. I know we've seen 12-year-old, 13-year-old winning medals for Japan, for great team GB and whatever,
Mhm.
but for a 17-year-old to just jump into water like that, and
Exactly.
obviously with the weight of
Absolutely.
Nigeria and that. What do you think is a feature for that little girl?
Oh, it's very bright. She already has enough courage to just come. So I feel that she will get support from the private sector to drive the
Oh, good.
progress forward. That's what I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It's like,
That's good.
and those are the learnings we take away. You know, we have the talent. It's incredible. You see people every day in different disciplines, and you see us all go abroad and excel, you know, despite. So it's genetic. So you nurture that nature and you have a winner.
Hmm, exactly. And again, we can only wish her well. The other thing actually that also stood out for me at this Olympics is the basketball team, the male and the female. I said if there was an award to give to a team um, for their presence alone, because everywhere you turn on the social media, you always see the basketball, either the male team, the Tigers or the Tigress, and you see those girls and the boys, dancing, showing off, and what have you. And everyone was
Yes.
just talking about basketball in Nigeria, thinking, "Oh, we're going to win the Olympic gold. We're going to do this. We're going to do that." It didn't happen for us. It didn't happen, but the presence and the fact that they're kind of like doing something unusual, especially with regards to Nigerian sports, is a very big plus. Do you think some of these associations in Nigeria, especially the ones that are struggling at the moment, they need to be more visible so that they can attract that private sector funding to help them?
Definitely, definitely, and have ambassadors like the D Tigers and D Tigresses like that, because that feel good factor is huge. That's what we follow. That's the buzz. You know, that's what will then translate to the excitement, and of
Mm.
course, the kachings from sponsors. Because let's face it, they need to see the return on investment.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
there's that, and yeah, because yeah, so that would work. Because you can see how, I mean, as you said, social media was a buzz. Oh, they beat the USA team, and we all thought,
Mm.
yes, we're gonna come away with a runaway gold. You know, we were all excited. But I mean, dampened because we knew, but it was just great. It's like, wow, they beat the USA. And it was trending for such a long time. So it's always nice. It's always nice.
Okay, so we take to the tracks tomorrow again. The 4x100. We will be there. Um,
Hmm,
we got Toby Amusan, who is obviously a hurdler specialist. Ese Brumer, specialist in long jump. Patience George was a specialist in 400 meters, and Grace Wokucha was a sprinter. Uh, some very hot combinations there, obviously due to the 10 that were banned, and obviously Blessing Okagbari also.
right.
Any hope at
Yeah.
all? Any hope at all for the 100 4x100?
I shall say at this point,
Don't say it, Landy.
that's my I don't want to, but we will be cheering on.
Oh, good, good, good. Well, hopefully, yeah, I will be cheering on for the
That's my
girls.
answer. We will be cheering
We
on.
should, okay, we'll be cheering on for the girls anyway, because this is more like patch and patch. It's just like you've got a Tokumbo tire, and you got ponchos all over it, and then you
Mhm.
you just run it to the next vulcanizer on the roadside, and yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, we don't patch on before. No, patch the other one. Don't worry about
It
it.
just
Patch the other side too.
mhm.
As long as it runs, as long
But you see, that's the
as it
beauty.
runs, and it.
That's the
Mm,
beauty. It's like we ain't going. This is our slot. We will field people. So that's good. That's why I said we will cheer them on. We will cheer them on. And the popular saying, lessons learned. Let's hope we have learned some lessons and that the next games will not be shambolically prepared for or anything that we have seen before.
mm. And it also says a lot about the Nigerian spirit, which is really something I totally also use if even though I'm here in diaspora, because sometimes when I do stuff, people wonder, how did you do that? And I proudly
Mhm.
say, it's something called the Nigerian spirit. What is that? You can never know except you're a Nigerian. Okay, so if you want to know, come
Exactly.
with me to Nigeria. Come and drink the water in Nigeria. Then you become Nigerian, and you can
Yes.
now know.
Exactly. Get a green passport and you will be us.
Exactly. And we've also got a boy in we've got a Chukwuebuka in Ikwechi in the shot put final. Although he got in there by
Mhm.
default, kind of, yeah. As people will say, let my people
Yeah.
go. But the thing about people
Mhm.
like that is they might get to the final and spring a surprise or two.
Mhm. They can. And also it's good practice. You know, the experience is something because the atmosphere, I mean, there's no crowds and stuff. So hopefully he goes on to the next Olympics. But it's good experience to just come, feel that pressure and know how you can sort of up your game if you need to or get in the zone. Because it's like 70% psychological apart from their talent. Once they've trained and everything else, it's all in the head. It really is in the head.
Hmm. Lande, I want to ask this question. And I think I've asked quite a lot of
Okay.
people that have come to this our shows. Is it time we probably Nigeria now should be choosing what sports they should be participating in at the Olympics and not just throwing everybody in willy nilly and probably just play to our strength.
Focus.
We know we are good with athletics, track and field. We know we are good in wrestling, boxing. Fortunately, we're not there this time. Basketball is now creeping. We also are good at, you know. So should we just be
Mm,
targeting those and then working on it, especially at 2024, so that we know that five sports we're concentrating on, and these five sports, the least we are targeting is the bronze medal. Should that be the case, or should we just
mm.
decide to just continue spreading our wings and just do whatever we can?
I mean, it's something I've thought about I think about it a lot that we know where our talents lie. And there's merit in what you say, because then it's like we focus on a few things, pump the infrastructure and financing into that, and we see the results. But then there's so many people doing the less popular ones, so to
Mm,
speak, and it's a chance for them to shine on the global stage. So it wouldn't be nice to shelve it. And you know how things are. If you focus on a few things in the first few years, what would then happen is we kind of forget about them totally. So the strategy will probably be, okay, let's even go to 2024 with these five key sports. And by 2028, we would have planned to put in, ballet and rifle shooting and clay pigeon shooting, but it probably won't happen. And you'll see everybody just fall by the wayside. And there's talent everywhere, and we can do it. But I think in any case, water always finds its own level. Apart from us not qualifying for the football, the games we typically watch more, everybody's focused on athletics. I mean,
mm,
Nigerians generally, as a generalization, we're focused on athletics, we're focused on the wrestling and that kind of thing, as opposed to maybe like the swimming pursuits or anything like that. So water finds its level and funding will kind of be top heavy for football, basketball, just like the associations here anyway. Hardly anybody hears about the other sports. Everybody thinks
mm,
football when you hear sports
mm,
ministry. They're like Minister of Sports. Oh, yeah, 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 Super Eagles. But it's actually all the sports. So water will find its own level anyway.
mm,
Financing will gravitate towards the more popular ones anyway, and then the niche ones will have their niche following and sponsorship.
mm, mm. So the other question would be, do you still think we can get some medals at this Olympics? And if so, I know you're very optimistic, and I know this question I'm going to ask you now, you're probably going to say what I think you're going to say. If so, what kind of
No,
medals
this
should we
this
be
seat
looking
is
forward
getting
to?
hot, is what I'm gonna
It's
say.
getting
Ah, okay.
Uh,
I will answer
don't
it in
forget
two
there's
ways.
don't forget there's an incentive now. obvious massive incentive for the sportsmen and women there. The sports ministry said, when you
Exactly.
go there, you get $15,000 and blah 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 blah.
You know, well, whew, as an avid lover of my country, yes, we still have medals in us. As a realistic but avid member and supporter of my country, my optimism is slightly damped, but I will watch with enthusiasm, with no expectation, and be happy if there's more.
Mm. And you're well, yeah, spoken like a, permit me to say, now, a true politician, a true Nigerian.
Yep,
Okay,
repping the brand.
a repping the brand. Thank you so much, Landy, for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to
Thank
discuss
you.
and talk with you. Always interesting to
Thank
talk with
you.
you, and
Likewise.
hopefully, we'll be bringing you back on the Way Show at some point very soon. So because we need to talk about renewable energy at some point again, and see where you've gone since the last time we spoke. And yeah, but on the
Lots has
positive note,
happened.
yeah, okay, cool. We'll be looking forward to
Mhm.
hearing from you regarding that. But on that positive note, um,
Yes.
especially with your optimism with the Olympics regarding our Nigerian participation in the Olympics, I look forward to those medals coming as a Nigerian and as a
Fantastic.
um, anyway, thank you so much, Andy, for coming on the show. Thank you for
Thank
coming on the
you.
show.
It was nice
Have a
as
very
always. Yeah.
All right. Have a great night. All
And
right.
you
Thank you
too.
so much. Okay. So
Righty.
that was Lande Abadu, who is the Executive Secretary General of the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria, and a sports columnist, also a former sprinter, um, a youth sprinter. So talking about Nigerians um, participation at the Olympics. We've talked so much today about sports development, about what we need to do, about where we need to go from here, about what lessons need to be learned from Tokyo 2020. I mean, so far since the start of this um, show, right from episode one, we've been banging on that because we need to learn lessons out of this Olympics. It's not fair. It's not really good when a country as big as Nigeria will be celebrating a bronze medal. Listen, bronze, silver, gold, as long as you're on the podium, brilliant. But we can do more. And how do we do more? We've been looking at that for the past 10, 11 episodes. People have come, different people have come and spoken about the ideas, about the way forward, about what we need to do. And the common ground is we need to go back to the basics. We need to develop sports. We need to go back to the grassroots. It's going to be more like a pyramid. We go back to the grassroots, develop sports from there, get the structures in, get the organizations in, pumping money to support this organization, to support the structure, and we will slowly get there. I know we know it's not going to be a sprint. It might not be Paris 2024. It might be in subsequent ones, because just like I said yesterday, in 1996 at the Atlanta Games, Team GB struggled. I think they only came back with about a gold medal or so. But look at them today, So they went back, they learned their lessons and they worked towards improving things in sports, getting serious about sports, investing in sports, and looking at sports they are actually stronger, investing, pumping more money into it, and the results is what you see today. The Team GB doing extremely well, and obviously contesting with the larger contingents of China, of Australia, of USA, of Russian Olympic Committee, and all. So we need to go back to the basics. We need to strengthen, obviously, the act of sports development in Nigeria. Go back to the grassroots, revive school sports, invest in them, make sports a near compulsory, a subject in primary schools and secondary schools. Is good for the health. It improves people, especially the young ones, so that by the time they get into the universities, the high institutions, they're already ingrained with that attitude, with that spirit, and with that know-how, so that when they get into the higher institutions, they are able to now express themselves as semi-professionals, so from that level to being a professional. That is what we're talking about. And obviously we need to get the responsible people leading all these organizations in Nigeria, and all this federation. We need responsible people there. We need people that actually love sports, who know sports, not just loving it, but you know about it. Because it's one thing for you to love it, sports, and there's another thing to know about sports, and the other thing is to obviously use the idea to develop sports. So we need this kind of people in there to work on Nigerian sports. And if that is done, then we can come out and obviously proudly be among the Committee of Nations who obviously strive to make it at the Olympics. I do hope someone is listening. I do hope someone is watching. And I do hope someone is taking notes. And I do hope someone is doing something to improve sports in Nigeria. My name is Wale, and this is Tokyo 2020 Rewind. Join us tomorrow as we rewind again. Have a good night.